Good afternoon, students. Welcome to the live session of ICAI. Today, we are doing a topic called resume writing, which comes under business correspondence and reporting. Thank you so much, all. I hope everybody has joined the class. I'm waiting for everybody. Please join as soon as possible, and then soon we'll start the session. So it's a nice class today. It's all about a very practical topic about resume writing. So everybody should be here. There should not be any absenteeism. And it's a very important topic from the point of view of applying to colleges, applying to jobs actually. So more from the job perspective, we're going to do it. So please be ready. Please be there in the class with me. And I really wish that, there is enough of participation. We're going to do it both ways. We're going to talk about different styles of resume. We're going to talk about different format. We're going to talk about how to do a cover letter. So everything will be going stepwise. I'm waiting for all of you to join, and then we'll quickly start. Okay. Fine. So just give me a minute. I'll start checking your queries, and then we'll soon begin with the actual session. I hope all the other sessions are also going on well and you've been learning everything from your side. For any queries, feel free to please write down in the support section. Okay. So thanks all for joining. Good afternoon. Very good afternoon to everybody. And let's start. So, first thing is, what is a resume and how exactly do we write a resume? So, can I first ask you, from your understanding, what do you think is a resume? We use this word very often whenever we are talking about applying for jobs. So, what do you think a resume is? Can anybody please answer? I'm waiting for you to give me a good answer, please, if you can answer. What is a resume? How do we actually, what do we mean by the term resume, and what exactly is the purpose of writing a resume? That's the main concern. So let's see how many of you can give me a good brief understanding about it. Yes, anybody? Manvi, Jyoti, Nikita, anybody can answer, please. What exactly is a resume? See, this is a very important topic from the exam point of view. Mostly, there is definitely one question on how to write a resume, so you cannot evade that. And secondly, it's also a very important aspect of your real life application. So, whenever you're going to apply for a job, if you know how to write a resume, it's definitely going to be very helpful. That's the reason why I'm saying please be very, very attentive in class. And for any doubts, please start writing it in your query section. I haven't received a query till now. Just give me a moment. Okay, so let me start with sharing my presentation now, so we'll get a good idea about how exactly this happens. हेलो सर, क्वेश्चन लिंक नहीं आ रहा है मेरे पास। लाइव क्वेरी वाला, उसमें क्वेरीज विजिबल नहीं हो रही। हाँ, मॉर्निंग वाला दिख रहा है मुझे। तो सबका मॉर्निंग ही आ रहा है। नहीं, आई थिंक वही है, वो मॉर्निंग वाले ही चल रहे हैं सारे। क्योंकि वो ऊपर से नया स्टार्ट हो जाता है। अच्छा, एक मिनट। ठीक है, अभी स्टार्ट हो गया, दिख गया मुझे। थैंक यू। वी कैन कंटिन्यू। Okay, I'm sorry for the disturbance. I was unable to see the questions. Okay, great. Thank you so much. So, Jyoti has given me a good answer saying that resume is a document which is helping you to introduce yourself to the employer. Very good. That's a wonderful way of explaining. Good afternoon, Rohini. Yeah, Surya, there was a technical glitch, so I was just trying to sort that. Okay, Bibu says it's a formal document which talks about the qualifications and it also tells you about your personal experience. Very good. That's a wonderful answer. And of course, it tells who you are. Like Arisha has said, it tells me who you are. So now, one thing I wanted to say, like for example, Arshdeep has written, it's a brief introduction about our own self. Now, my introduction is a little more casual, it's a little more informal, but basically, this is a very formal document which is always used for official reasons. Okay, we never use resume for an informal purpose. That's different then. So please don't get confused between a bio data and a resume. A resume is technically only used for official reasons. Please keep that in mind. Okay. And qualification about yourself, Sakshi says that. Okay, Abhinav, I'll definitely try that. I'll try to do it. Um, okay, so a lot of the answers. Okay, fine. So most of you know you have a brief understanding about what exactly is a resume. Ustat, right? So portfolios are different. We don't do portfolios right now. That's a completely different topic altogether, which is not related to your subject for the moment. So we can do away with portfolios. You don't have to get into that detail. Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, Chanda. Good afternoon, Bal Sanjana, Lakshmi. Okay, so now I'll share my PPT and then we'll see how exactly resumes work for you as a CA aspirant, how exactly things are set in the resume section for you. Okay, so this is my first screen. I hope it's visible and let's start. So resume is, first of all, it's not an English word. That's why we put a small dash. Sometimes you must have seen a small dash over the E. And also there is an emphasis on the word, on the letter E. Okay. So we don't say it's resume because resume becomes an English word, which means to start something which was stopped. So let's resume the session, which means let's start it again. That's resume. But resume, as you all know, is more about, sorry, it's more about a summary about your past credentials. That's what the actual meaning is. So basically, you all have to understand that whenever we're doing a resume, you are writing something which you have done in your past. It may be your educational qualifications, it may be your professional qualifications, it may be some notable achievements which you have got, maybe your participation in some competitions. So everything which you feel is relevant enough to be shared, which will enable you to get a job. That is a resume. Okay. And of course, I've given you a formal definition, which is one of the very easiest I could write so that you all can understand what exactly a resume is. Good afternoon, Asha. Okay, so what we have is it's a document, and we call it a formal document because it's always used for formal reasons. It provides an overview of your professional qualifications So whatever qualifications you've had in the past, that's something which a resume provides. Secondly, what does it include? Now, qualifications, some people have like 5, 6, 7 degrees, but that doesn't mean I'm going to list down everything. I'm going to list down only those which I think are most relevant. So whenever you try to make a resume, these are the things which you have to keep in mind. Okay. Next is it includes your work experiences. Suppose you've changed like a couple of jobs. So you should include all the work experiences you have, what exactly you did in each of the job, because sometimes job descriptions are very misleading. So if you really did like 5 different things, you can list them down in a certain order so that when a new employer is trying to interview you or employ you, he gets a clear picture about your expertise, he gets a clear picture about what have you done, and on the basis of that he or she is going to select you. Okay, so that's about your work experience and that's about your skill. Now sometimes it's very important that you won a certain award in your last office, or you won certain awards in school which you think are worth mentioning, which you think are like really a big time achievement, and I think it would be great if I mention that. That can also be written in the resume. So it's not just about only qualifications and education, it's also about your skills and also about your expertise. Okay, is it clear? So this is just a brief overview about what exactly a resume is. Fine. Is it okay, Bhavna? Yes, it's an enclosed document. Biodata and resume are same. Biodata, Saima, we generally use it for purposes when we're talking about, personal issues. Like, for example, the matrimonial issue, where you don't mostly mention the jobs. You don't mention the skills you have. All that is not mentioned in a biodata. Okay? Fine. Got it? Okay, so let's move on. Now, the next is the purpose of the resume. Why exactly do we need a resume? Now, many people come and ask me, why can't I just sit and tell you what I've done, and then you can just note it down, and whatever you think is relevant on the basis of that, I can get a job or something. But basically, when something is there in front of me in a written form, it gets registered in my head better than when somebody is only speaking about it. So if I'm interviewing you for a job, I think if I have the resume in hand, I can, go through it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and I can understand your skills. I can point out the problems. I can give you some feedback on certain loopholes. I can question you more about some issues which you have mentioned. I can know more about you if I have a paper in hand. Got it? I'm a football player. Yes, Rohini, CV and resume are almost the same. Sakshi, I didn't get you. You are a football player and you've played for the state. That's what you mean. So you're a state level player. Yeah, you can very well mention that. That's not a problem at all. Okay. So today we're going to discuss what exactly is the need or the purpose of writing a resume. Now, first is very, very simple introduction. So whenever I have a resume, I have to introduce myself in such a way that the employer feels happy about it. The employer feels, oh, wow, the introduction is so impressive. I'm sure the details will also be impressive. So the way you start your resume is what exactly is, the main source. The very important thing is, how do I begin my resume in such a way that whoever is reading it enjoys it and gets impressed and definitely wants to select me for a certain job? Okay, that's the introduction. Secondly, it shows the qualification. Now, qualification, sometimes people say that it's very difficult. I've done my school from some city, I've done my college from some city, so many different things, but still you have to put all the qualifications and the percentage or the percentile. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say is you cannot always avoid these details. So your 10th marks, your 12th marks with the percentage, all this is really, really important. And everything has to be in a tabular form. You can't write like lines and lines and essays on that. No, it's just a straightforward table which mentions your 10th, your 12th, maybe your graduation. And if you've done your PG, then maybe your PG. That's it. Nothing more than that. Okay. Third is when you have already worked somewhere or you have enhanced some skills by doing some course, you have to talk about those skills, and you are the candidate in this case. So when you're applying for a job, you have to be very sure that your skills are highlighted. So there are two things. One, that you're applying for the job for the first time. So you basically have only your education qualifications, and you must have done some couple of courses where you've learned a lot of skills. So highlight those skills. Sometimes it happens that you have already worked somewhere in a certain office and you have learned all that in that office. Then of course you can write about those skills. Okay, Sakshi, I'll come to that. I'll come to everything. You need to go slowly because there are certain slides which I need to follow. Once I finish this in a certain order, then I'll give you enough time to ask your doubts. Okay, hobbies, interests, likes, dislikes, we'll discuss everything. Fine, Sakshi? Okay. Third is it helps, fourth is it highlights the important achievements. Now, what happens is you must have taken part, like Sakshi just now said, she's a football player. So this becomes a personal achievement. It's not related to your professional segment. But if you have won an award in the office, or if you have won a certain high role academic award in college, or you have been the student of the year, or you've been acknowledged for your contribution to a certain subject in the college, those kind of awards are what you actually have to mention. So there are two things. One is you mention the awards which you think are worth being discussed with the employer, either in school or college. And second is those awards which you think have brought a difference in you and can be spoken about, the ones which you have won in office. So it can be for your final contributions in office, for meeting deadlines, for being the employee of the month, etc. Okay, got it? So those are the important achievements. They can be certificates, they can be awards, they can be trophies, they can be some kind of an incentive which you got. Fine. Okay. Next comes, it outlines the candidate's career story. Career story is, can you tell me what you mean by career story in case you don't know? Career story is when you have to talk about everything which you have done in your career, which means for the last 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year. The word story, of course, we use only when you have a lot of jobs in hand. So you've been in work for the last 5 years, for the last 10 years. That is career. Otherwise, if you've just been in job for maybe last 1 year, then you don't have to speak about it because you don't have much to write down. So basically, only when you have a lot to speak, we call it like a career story. And last of all, it saves time because every detail is mentioned in points. It's in tabular form, or it's in a pointer form, or it's just highlighted with notes. It doesn't have details in terms of theory. It doesn't have details in terms of let's say essay writing. All that is not required. Okay, so resume is a very strict, patterned, concise and consistent document which tells about you as a candidate, all that which you have done in your past life, which is going to help you get a job. So basically we are talking about only job related resumes. Okay, got it? Now you ask me if there is any question and then I'll move on. So what are the points I have mentioned? And besides this, if you have something, you can ask me. Yes, Rohini, career story is basically like your work experience. So we are putting all the details in this form as if it's a story. Okay. Okay, Zeba, understood. Very good. Good afternoon, Rahul. Now you ask me, Sakshi, what was your doubt? And the others can also ask me. Any doubts? Samina, Sanjay, Bhavna, Chanda. Gunjan, any doubts? Okay, great. So thanks, Rohini, thanks, Srinidhi, and thanks, Diksha. No doubts. So now we're going to move forward where we're going to discuss some more information about a resume. Now, can I ask you how many of you, if I may ask you, how many of you have made a resume till now? Maybe it's too early at your stage of life, but still, just for some purpose, if you did make a resume, and what did you learn out of it, and how did you make it? Did you make it yourself, or did you use some template from Google, or you took some professional help? How have you made it? Arisha, resume and CV are more or less the same. It's just the usage of the word. We don't use the word CV everywhere. So, there's like US English and UK English. That's the only difference. Otherwise, it's the same. Biodata is different, but CV, which is curriculum vitae, and resume are the same. Lakshita, the third point, it helps you enhance the core skills. Now, core skills is suppose you've done something very much in indirect tax, and you are a strong person when it comes to indirect tax. And for all the last few years, you have only worked in a CA firm where you're doing indirect tax only. In that case, that becomes your core skill. So your resume should speak for that fact that you are an indirect tax person. So for any doubt in that domain, you are the go-to person for me. So I'm going to only hire you when I have an opening or when I have a vacancy related to that skill. Okay. So it basically talks about those core skills which you have enhanced, which you have developed over the last few years in an organization, or you have studied about them in a course. Okay, Surya has made it for some other person. Okay, why not for yourself? Yes, Gurleen. I'll tell you about personal detail. I think you do it in class 12, but that might not be very professional, I think, Bibu. Okay, so most of you have done it as far as it was about the class 12 CBSE exams. That's what your knowledge for resume is. Okay. Cover letter, I'll come to that, Chanda. This is the first part of it. The second half, we're going to discuss cover letter. Personal details. Okay, now somebody is asking personal details again. Okay, now, Gurleen, personal details are also mentioned, but they also have a certain format. So once we come to the format, I'll tell you where to mention the personal details. Mostly, we include the personal details just on the heading, like, your name, your date of birth, your telephone number, and your address. More than that, I don't want to know about your brothers and your sisters and your family members. That's not going to help me hire you. Okay. So I'm repeating again, my purpose today is to talk about a resume which is going to help you get a job. Hence, we are not going to discuss all the personal details. For the least, we also have a section which is about likes and dislikes, or let's say hobbies and interests, which is just a by the way mention, but that does not really matter so much. Okay. Okay, Surya does it for Surya. You yourself are a computer trainer. Okay, great. Okay, Arisha, that's great. You made it for yourself. Okay, Srinidhi has done it for her sister, and so has Bhargavi. Okay, Omkar has done it for himself. It was your BCom final exam. Okay, and did you submit the resume somewhere, Omkar, or you just made it and you kept it for yourself? Okay, great. See, Saima, it's not about if in biodata it's mentioned professional qualifications. No, because when you do a biodata, we typically take it for purposes like matrimonial purposes. We don't use the word biodata for professional job applications. Okay. So even if professional qualifications are mentioned in a biodata, we do not turn it to a resume or a CV. So it's not that you write something and suddenly this document becomes that document. It's never like that. The whole structure, the format, what exactly is being highlighted, what is the main idea that I've written, all those points, all that decides that this piece of paper is a resume and not a biodata. Okay. Just by adding or subtracting a couple of points, X doesn't turn into Y. Sakshi, it's not very much compulsory, photograph or no photograph. Sometimes, organizations don't want a photograph because they are generally going to talk to you. They're going to have a one-on-one interview with you. So it's not like a mandate, but yeah, sometimes there is an expectation. So that's a very irrelevant discussion. You don't need to worry about that because when you do your question in the exam, you don't have to put a photograph anyways. Okay, so you're working as an accountant. Great. Details capital में होना चाहिए. Chanda, what details about the format? Then I'll tell you all about the format later. Okay. Once we discuss the format, because I have 2 sessions for resume, so don't worry, we'll go bit by bit. And a lot of information is also given in your study material. There's a lot of practice questions also. We'll discuss that also. So you don't have to worry about the font, the style. All that is not that important as much as how to make a resume and how to attempt a question in the resume writing section of business correspondence and reporting. Okay. Asha, why do you want to ask about computer course and tally course? You want to write about it, right? So if you have done a computer course and if you have done a course in tally, you can write it in your resume for sure. So that comes like other qualifications because these are like short-term courses. Okay, this might be a 3-month course, it might be a 1-month course, even if it is a diploma course for an year, it comes in other qualifications. Okay. Okay, now tell me what is the next doubt you have? Okay, so let's move on to the next page. These are the basics. Once you get to know the basics, then I think your doubts will come down. You will not have many doubts. So let's start with the basics. The basics about drafting your resume. First of all, select your most important skill. No, Lakshita, you all have to be very sure that the chapters which come under business correspondence and reporting, only that will be something as part of your exam course. Okay, nothing beyond that. So if there is a chapter called resume writing, you will be asked to make a resume only. You will not get a question on biodata. Fine. Okay, Lakshita sir. Now, Gurleen, every chapter is very important. I generally don't discuss weightages because for me, resume is as good as note making, as good as report writing, as good as Pressy, as good as normal chapter on communication because there is a question which is going to be there from all chapters. And for that matter, resume writing is a long answer, so the weightage of the question will be quite high. Okay. Arshdeep, there are so many resumes which have been posted in the study material, in the MTPs and the RTPs, which is there on the website. So there is a lot of practice question. There are a lot of sample resumes which are already there. In fact, I will also be sharing some samples, but that will be in the second part of the session because I have to go slowly, take you to the level where you are sure about how you can draft your own resume. Once you see that, then I think you'll be in a better of position. Zeba, we will definitely do cover letter. That is the second half of the session today. I'll discuss what a cover letter is. Okay? Clear? I hope I have clarified all your doubts. Okay, now let's come to the screen. So first of all, your important skills. Now, second is you list them in a certain order, which is mostly chronological, starting from the most recent, going back to the last one, to the oldest one. Okay, that's how we talk about it in terms of reverse chronology. Chronology is taking it from time. So suppose you did something in 2019, then before that you did something in 2017, and before that you did something in 2016. So you start from 19. First, what you mention is 19, then you talk about 17, then you mention 16. So in your resume, whatever appears first is the most recent, whatever appears last is the oldest, whether it's achievements, whether it's educational qualifications, or whether it's jobs. So if you have done 5 jobs, you always will write about your latest job or your current job first, and then you go in the backward direction, which is reverse chronology. Okay, got it, everybody? Fine. Okay, let's move on then. Now you have to highlight your niche field. Niche, you understand the word niche. Niche is something which I am just perfect at. Somebody is very good at GST, somebody is very good at audit. That's what your training has been, that's what you want to specialize in. So that becomes your niche field. So if you've worked with a certain CA firm for 5 years and you've done only audit, and that's something which is appealing to you and you've had a hands-on experience, if that becomes your niche field, most of your resume should talk about audit only, your awareness, the various courses you have done, the various study material you have referred to, your knowledge about the subject. That kind of gives me a confidence that if my company needs a person who is an expert in, let's say, audit, I'm going to hire him. Okay, that's the way the highlighting has to happen. Highlight doesn't mean that you bring a highlighter and you start highlighting it. Not like that. Highlight is basically pay more attention to. So your resume should speak for all that. It should come to me. The moment I see the resume, oh wow, this guy is very good at GST. This guy is very good at audit. Okay, let's take. That is the feeling the employer should get. Got it? Okay, everybody? Fine. Now, repetition. I have seen a several number of resumes which keep telling me about the same thing, the same thing, the same thing. You have already told me that you have worked in a firm as an article, let's say for 2 years, and you've learned X, Y, Z topics. You've worked in the areas of X, Y, and Z. And then again, 5 lines later, you will tell me that, these X, Y, Z topics or these X, Y, Z areas you did with so-and-so clients. Again, after 10 lines, you'll tell me that, okay, when I was in this client, I did this. When I was in that client, I did this. I am tired of repetition. Please, guys, resumes are not like essay writing competitions. You have to be very specific. If you really want your resume to be screened and reach the table of the employer, please be very, very specific and do not repeat. Repetition is the worst you can do to any style of writing, whether it is note making, whether it is report writing, whether it is resume writing, whether it is article writing, whether it is pressy writing. Please don't repeat. Okay, the same points again and again. It gets so boring. Nobody wants to read those again and again. That's the problem. Okay, Vibhu, clear? Lakshita, Jyoti, Chanda, Harshdeep, and Omkar, all okay till now? Okay, moving on. The next thing is, how do you align your resume with the job? Now, you should always understand and sit for 5 minutes and see what is the job description. Once I understand what exactly is the role I'm being hired for or I'm applying for, make your resume in that style. So there are always, modifications which can be done. Okay, Arshdeep, I'll do that. Don't worry. So there are, some modifications which you can do to your resume when you understand the job description. So I'll give you a simple example. If it's a school, okay, fine. Now in a school, there might be various jobs possible. So one is the job of an English teacher. Second is the job of an accountant. Third is the job of a librarian. Fourth is the job of a gatekeeper. And fifth is the job of a headmistress. Okay, so there are 5 jobs. Okay, just give me 1 second, please. Now there are 5 jobs in the school. Okay, and you are good at 3 things. You are good at English teaching. You have also done a librarian course. You've also done a course in, let's say, BSc Library Sciences or BA Library Sciences. And you've also done a B.Ed and you've also done an advanced course in language. So you are fit to be a headmistress also. Okay. So 3 out of 5 jobs you are good at. And you want to apply for all 3. How will you do? Can you share the same resume for all the 3 jobs? No. Because if you want to be a librarian, which is your first priority, then most of your resume information should speak about the library science course which you have done. How much experience do you have in being a librarian? Your awareness about stacking books, your awareness about the science behind keeping books in a library, and your interest in that field. But if you are a very, very, let's say, fervent English teacher, you love English and you teach that subject, then you should highlight your B.Ed degree, then you should highlight your NTT degree, then you should highlight your teaching experience. And finally, if you have good leadership skills, if you have good managerial skills, besides having knowledge about the subject, then you are fit to be a headmaster or a headmistress or a coordinator. So your resume should speak about those things. Okay? Got it? So for the same job, if one candidate, for three different jobs, if one candidate wants to apply, there are ways to modify and change your resume in such a style that they match with the job description. That's what I mean when I say align the content of your resume. So if somebody is applying for a gatekeeper's job, what will I look for? He should be smart enough to handle outsiders. He should be polite enough to speak to parents. He should be strong enough to take care of parents who are very, very argumentative and fussy and who want to break rules. He should be, concerned and kind enough to ensure a child is crossing the road properly and a child is safe when he's near the school boundary. So if these are the qualities I have mentioned in the resume, then definitely I'm going to select you for the job of a gatekeeper, isn't it? Got it? So why I'm saying this is your modifications and your changes, they might be slight, they might be wide, they might be really huge. That depends on what your background is. If you can align the content of your resume in such a way that they match the job description, you have done the best. Okay? Okay, thanks, Rohini. Okay, Zeba, LinkedIn app is fine. Chanda Prajapati says, experience certificate. Yes, so definitely if you have a proof, then you can attach all certificates as an enclosure. Definitely you can do that. Okay, now next is present yourself suitable for the job with keywords highlighted. Like Google works on keywords. So the moment you write Taj, it talks about Taj Mahal, it talks about Taj Hotel. The moment you say weather, it starts talking about the weather conditions or the weather conditions in your area. So that's keyword. Keyword search, like it happens in digital marketing, is also very important in your resume. You should have mentioned those very, very important keywords, keywords which actually help you get the job or get selected to a certain level. If you are a teacher, okay, and you do not have good teaching expertise, you do not have good subject knowledge, you do not have skills to manage a class, you do not have skills to manage backbenchers, you do not have guts and courage enough to manage those who are a little aggressive in class, you do not have good patience to manage those students who are very slow in class, you do not have patience and tolerance to listen to parents who are very argumentative, then you are not a good teacher. But if you have all these in you, you should be highlighting these keywords in your resume so that when I see the paper, I know, okay, this girl has patience. She can deal with parents. This girl has a lot of courage because she can deal with a group which is very violent. This girl is very, very kind and slow, so she can come down to the level of the weakest student. And this girl is also having a good subject knowledge because she's done XYZ courses. Sorry. Okay. If those keywords are highlighted, my job is done. I don't have to read the whole resume because I'm only going to look at the keywords then. Got it? So your resume is the whole and soul document which either lets you get a job or discourages you from getting a job. And fortunately, unfortunately, ironically enough, it's all in your hands. So resume is like a stepping stone towards getting a job. Okay. Now, the next is follow the new trend and template style. Now, this is a very technical area which we're going to discuss when we're doing resume writing, when I ask you to make resumes. Now, there are various templates which are, circulating across the internet. You need to see whichever format is just applicable. Because what happens is some styles are considered to be a little old-fashioned. So we don't let students stick to that. You might use various private owners apps. You might use some things which are given on Microsoft. You might search the net. So the template is very important. Though we ask you as students to follow whatever template is given in the study material, from the exam point of view, that is more than enough. Every format has been discussed. right from the first line to the last line, everything is there in the study material, so you can adhere to that only. Okay, but later in your life, when you're going to make an actual resume for a real time job, then you should be very much aware about what template to follow. Don't make it very fancy and don't make it very, very colorful. Okay. Okay, let me just have a look at the queries, please. Okay, fine. And the last is, of course, keep it short, crisp, and clear. I don't want lengthy resumes. Resumes more than 2.5 pages land up in the dustbin. So you should be very sure that I'm not giving you a thesis. I'm not giving you research analysis. I'm only giving you a 2.5 page resume. Cut it down as much as possible, make it as short as possible, within limited words and within limited space of a paper. You have to write 2.5 pages, that is the maximum, if I'm talking about an A4 size sheet. Okay, got it? Yeah, importance of keyword is very important, Lakshita, because if I don't see those words, like specific words, maybe you are a good direct salesperson, maybe you are a good salesman, maybe you are good at marketing, maybe you have good communication skills, maybe you are a good orator. All these keywords which help me decide whether I should hire you or not, they are really important. Okay. Any doubts from this? SWOT analysis हिंदी में is about आपकी क्या अच्छाइयां हैं, आपकी क्या वीकनेस है, आप में अंदर ऐसी क्या चीजें हैं जिनके ऊपर आपको कुछ काम करना है. अपॉर्चुनिटीज इज बेसिकली आपको ऐसी क्या चीजें लगती हैं जिनको यूज करके आप अपने आप को और बेटर कर सकते हैं. एंड थ्रेड्स आर दोज व्हिच यू थिंक आर एक्टिंग एज डिफिकल्टीज, जो आपके रास्ते में मुश्किलें बन के आ रही हैं जिनको आपने ओवरकम करना है. दैट इज SWOT analysis. Good afternoon, Sameer. I think you've joined pretty late. Okay. So can I consider this slide as done? Any doubts from your side? Please feel free to ask. Okay, so we move on to SWOT analysis, just like Jyoti Manji had discussed. We'll discuss SWOT analysis. SWOT is, of course, strengths, weaknesses. I'm sorry. Okay, SWOT is this, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay, this, of course, you have understood. Hadia, new trend concept. That's what I mean by that particular point is, whenever you draft a resume, you have to see what template you are following. Sometimes you start with the name first and then you write about the educational qualifications and professional qualifications. Sometimes what happens is you put the name in the end. You talk about, signing, and you put a photograph in the end. So what template, like how many borders, is it aligned on left and right, what is to be put in bold, what is to be put in italics, how many gaps should I leave between each topic, should I put my educational qualifications in a tabular form? All that is the template or the style which is in trend, which is being accepted as official, that you should be aware of. So what was a good style 10 years before is not accepted today. Okay, got it? I'll do that, Sagar, I'll do that. So, okay, I'll upload this slide, Sanjana. I'll do that. Don't worry. This slide will be uploaded soon after the class. You can have a look, and whenever you're free, you can go through all the slides. Okay. Okay, is it clear then? What do I mean by the template thing, Hadia? Okay. It's nothing much. I don't think so. That I haven't written anything. I've just written strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay. Strength is basically they are helpful to achieve your objective. So strengths and opportunities are those which help you to achieve your goal. So in life, you have a goal of becoming a director. You have a goal of becoming a partner in the Big Four. You have a goal of becoming the CFO in some big company, in some MNC. So your strengths and your opportunities help you achieve that goal, come closer to the goal. Harmful is what? The weaknesses and threats. Weaknesses are very personal, which you yourself have to work upon. So there is a weakness in me, which means I'm lazy, I don't get up on time, I procrastinate, I keep delaying things. All those are the weaknesses. Threats are the concerns which are around me, which might hinder my progress, which might stop me from progressing, which might stop me from achieving my goals. So, weaknesses and threats are kind of obstacles in achieving your objective. Strengths and opportunities are aids or helps in achieving your objectives. Okay. Now, internal is strengths and weakness. So, what is the origin? Strengths and weaknesses are very personal, they are inside you. You, as a person, can change your strengths, can change your weaknesses. Opportunities and threats are external origin. It's about the society, it's about the peer group, it's about the institution, it's about the country, it's about the environment, it's about the current trends. All that is around you, and strengths and weaknesses are in you. Okay, so definitely it's easy to change strengths and weaknesses because they are very, very personal. They are related to you. But if there is a current trend which is going around you, which is happening in the country, which is happening in your area, it might be an opportunity, it might be a threat, because these trends are very global. So these days, if I have people doing a lot of artificial intelligence and machine learning courses, if I have people doing a lot of coding, it's a trend. Okay, I cannot change it. I cannot change these kind of trends because the bent is towards this technology. So everybody is doing a course in artificial intelligence. Hence, it is called an external origin topic because it's outside my control, it's outside my purview. But a strength or a weakness which exists in me is completely under my control, and I can do a lot of things to change it or to enhance it. Okay, is this explanation clear for SWOT? Chanda, I've given it here. You can see SWOT analysis means S for strength, W for weakness, O for opportunities, and T for threats. Clear? Okay. Now let's move on to the next slide where I'm going to discuss the strengths and the other topics of SWOT in detail. So SWOT basically is, when I'm talking about strengths, the skills which you have, which you think are my best points. People can look up to me on those skills which I have. They are called your strength. Okay. We generally talk about it in terms of adjectives. We don't use personal relations here like my mother is my strength, my father is my strength, my brother, my sister, my grandparents. We don't use those kind of strengths. They might be a good backing or a backbone for you or a source of motivation for you, but we only use adjectives like, what is your strength? I'm a go-getter. I'm a hard worker. I'm a punctual person. I'm a very academic oriented person. Those are your strengths. I am very perseverant and patient. When it comes to Arshdeep, what PROP stands for? I didn't get you. What is PROP? Can you please explain again or ask me again? Weaknesses is those problems which you face which are not helping you do better in life. For example, I'm a very lazy person. Whenever there is some work given to me, I always kind of delay it. I always kind of postpone it. So I'm a procrastinator. Second weakness can be, for example, I go out of the way to help others. Okay, so which means like I'm in the middle of a project and suddenly somebody comes and asks me for help. I leave my own work and I'll go there. That's a weakness. So I'm very emotional for that matter. I cry very soon. All these are weaknesses. Next comes external factors, which is opportunities, which are around you. So if there is a seminar happening on GST and I know GST is going to be my skill area, my niche area, I'm going to avail that seminar. Even if it's paid, I'll go there, I'll attend the seminar and I'll enhance my knowledge. I keep doing a lot of courses on various platforms, private platforms, paid and unpaid, to keep knowing about my subject. So these are the opportunities which I am availing. Whenever there is a session on some topic which I think is going to be helpful, I'll go and attend it. Okay, so that is an opportunity. And last of all is a threat. Threat is what is acting as a stoppage. It's not allowing you to progress. For example, a language barrier. So I'm working in a place, in a city where the language spoken is not my language, it's not my mother tongue. So what do? I either learn that language, or maybe I try not to make it as a barrier and I come down to a common language, for example, like English or maybe Hindi for that matter. Then I'm overcoming that language barrier. Then sometimes it's communication barriers. So I know my subject very well in and out, but when asked to communicate my idea in front of an audience in a seminar or in a conference, then I'm unable to do it. So these are barriers which hinder your personal and professional growth, and you should be working on them. So they are like a threat. It's like an impending danger, threatened species you must have read in geography. So one is an extinct species which is completely gone. Threatened is it's on the verge of going, like, duck, duck, hornbill ducks, etc. Some names, I'm sorry, I don't remember the names right now, but those are threatened species. Okay. So you are on the verge of accepting the threats if you don't work on your weaknesses. Weaknesses and threats are something which you have to work on. Strengths and opportunities are your good factors. Got it? Strengths and weaknesses are internal, opportunities and threats are external. Okay? Clear, everybody? Any doubts which you have for this part of it? Because we will not be doing SWOT. I want to take a 5 minute, 7 minute break. Once I come back, I want you people to tell me about your SWOT. So, at least the first two, you can tell me your strengths and you can tell me your weaknesses. We wouldn't have that much bandwidth to discuss opportunities and threats because I have to finish the presentation. I have to discuss the cover letter also. But once we come back after a short break, I really would like to go through what are your strengths and weaknesses. Okay. So let's take a small 5 minute break. I'll see you around 3:35. Till then, please stay tuned and do join back. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, welcome back after a short break. I hope everybody is here with me. So please share your doubts, whatever is a discussion, whatever was in discussion related to that. If you have any doubts, if you have any queries about how to attempt a question, everything is open to discussion now. And then I'll continue with the PPT for sure. Okay, thank you, Diksha, Jyoti, Zeba. Thanks a lot, Gurleen and Hatya. Thank you, Bhumika. So everybody's quite clear. I'm happy everything is going smooth and safe. Thanks, Lisa and Sagar. Okay, Lakshita has a question. What is the role of SWOT in resume writing? Well, SWOT is the basis of resume writing. So when you're talking about, let's say, your skills, when you're talking about those areas which you think you are good at, that you will be able to understand only when you've done your SWOT. So SWOT is basically the first step towards resume writing, because when you go for an interview, besides seeing the resume, they might be asking you questions which are related. Now, for those related questions, if I don't know my strengths, I will not be able to answer, because I don't mention these topics in my resume. Any resume will not have strengths and weakness categorically mentioned. But for my own understanding about my own self, I should have done a SWOT before I actually apply for a job, before I actually make a resume. Okay. So SWOT and resume are basically going parallel. They go hand to hand, but SWOT is not part of the resume. Okay. Okay, great. Thanks, Rohini, Manvi, and Gunjan. Glad that you all have understood and there are no doubts. I'm really happy. If there's anything which you guys want to share from your side, you can definitely ask. Threats. See, I've written threats. For example, threats is basically there is some kind of a barrier. Suppose there is a cultural barrier. You belong to an X community and you've been asked to go and stay in a city which is very different from yours. That cultural barrier can be a threat. Or maybe the societal trends can be a threat. Maybe the level of let's say the importance of a certain area is declining and you are an expert in that area only. I'll give you a very simple example. It's not related to your subject, but in general, for example, computers. Okay, now everybody is doing computer science these days, but somebody who must have done a language like C plus, languages keep changing, so now there is more demand for Python as opposed to like 10-15 years back when C plus and C plus plus were in demand. So the changing trends become a barrier because my knowledge and my expertise lies in C plus and C plus plus. But now I'm seeing nobody is hiring me because that language has become redundant. I don't have softwares and codes being written in that language. So my knowledge is getting obsolete. It's getting outdated. Hence, I have to keep on reviving my knowledge. So what can be my threat? The changing trends of the society. The fact that my knowledge is getting redundant is my threat. That is how you can discuss threats. Okay, Manvi, is that fine? Great. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing after SWOT. So this is just taking you through the whole process of resume writing, starting from knowing what a resume is, to knowing the purpose of writing a resume, to the first basic building block of a resume, which is doing your SWOT, and then telling you what can be put in to fill in the blanks of SWOT. Strengths and opportunities. Strength is what you have as a person. So it's a personal trait. You are very good at a particular subject. You are very good at interpersonal communication. You are very good at communication skills. You are very good at logic. You are very good at handling accounts. That is your strength. You are a hard worker. You are perseverant. You are a go-getter. You are determined. You are honest. That is a strength. Okay. Opportunities are you have to find out about things happening around you which you have availed and you are using them as an opportunity. For example, you have done a few courses on some platforms which offer courses which are related to your subject. That is grabbing the opportunity. Suppose there is a seminar on GST at 5 different places and you have the chance to attend all 5. that becomes an opportunity. So whatever is external and it's adding value to your knowledge is opportunity. Whatever is internal, which relates to your personality, is a strength. Okay. The same is true for weakness and threat. Whatever is your drawback, whatever is your weak point, that is a weakness. Like I'm a very lazy person, I'm not very punctual, I always keep delaying things, I kind of lose focus and concentration. That is a weakness. Got it? Okay, Vibhu. Manvi, yes, mostly we expect students to write a summary. Okay, so when I'm doing the resume writing in general, in actual, then I'll tell you about summary writing. But for a general brief idea, of course, the study material has a lot of good mention about it, so you can refer to that. But yes, it is important. We have to write it. Okay. Okay. Now let's move on to a altogether new topic, which many of you have been asking, which is a cover letter. Now, what exactly is a cover letter? As the name suggests, it's covering. It's just covering something. So, what is it covering? It's covering your resume. Fine. I have given you my definition from the internet source about what is a cover letter. You might have something else to add. Please feel free to tell me what you think is a cover letter. It's basically a letter which gives me some prior information about the candidate. So even before I jump to the resume, I have that letter written in a certain format. And if I read that letter, I will get a good, clear picture about the candidate. And then I will move on to the next step of scrutinizing your resume, because resumes are very detailed. So why do I need to go to every point of the resume when right in the first page I have a letter which is highlighting your important skills and your core areas? I can just go through them, isn't it? That's what a cover letter is. So basically, the information which will help you achieve your goals, which is personal and professional, which I think if the company knows about it, they will definitely hire me. All that put in a very brief and a language format instead of tables and highlighted bullets in a sentence format, that becomes a cover letter. Okay? Is this part clear? I've just discussed what is a cover letter. I'm going to discuss the points I have mentioned now. So this is an opportunity which you are getting, even before people see your resume, they see the cover letter and everything is crystal clear there. Then it becomes an additional opportunity. Okay. The next thing is the letter highlights the skills and the achievements of the candidate. So it's not like an informal letter that you're writing to your friend. It's not like a formal letter that you're writing a letter to the editor. It's more about a letter which you are writing to the employer, to the prospective employer, that you are good at XYZ. So please give me a chance and please consider reading my resume. It's like a brief version of your resume. Okay? Thanks, Vibhu. Very good, Bhumika. It is a brief of the resume. I agree. Okay, unlike a resume, it helps in writing details about one's career. Now, what happens is, since this is very wordy, this is very language oriented, because we are not putting tables, we are not putting bullets. It's more about the language which you use. So it's giving you an extra opportunity of telling the employer about you. Hence, it helps you write in detail about yourself or your candidature. And last of all, it's a very good way of telling people that I am the best fitment for this job. That's the best thing a cover letter can do. So it's all in your hands. Some people, some students come and tell me that, ma'am, I couldn't make a good resume, and when I sent it, it didn't even get scrutinized. It didn't even come under screening, because although I have so many qualifications, also I have so much experience. So it's actually your fault, the employer is giving you an opportunity to use the cover letter and the resume so that you show your skills in such a way that you get selected for the screening level. You at least reach the interview. If your resume is only not getting screened, which means there is a major problem in your understanding about how to write a resume. Not necessarily always your qualifications are less than what is expected. Sometimes the onus lies only on the way you present your resume. So it's very, it's very easy to think about it. I don't know how to put it in words, but it's completely in your hands. That's what I can say. Got it? Yes, Manvi, very true. Bibu, depends on the level of jargons. You don't have to sound very wordy and flashy and like a dictionary or a thesaurus. If those jargons are like day-to-day usage, then no problem at all. But they should be aligned with your subject and what you are applying for. If that kind of a match is there, then yes, jargons are also okay. Okay, everybody? Arshdeep, I'm telling you, no, cover letter is a small letter which you write to the employer, you address it to the employer, and whatever you are writing in the resume, you are just writing in 3 paragraphs like a normal English formal letter. You are writing about your achievements and your opportunities and yourself in those 3 paragraphs. Just that before somebody reaches my resume, they have a fair idea about my background. That's it. Okay? Yes, Bhavna, application letter. Yeah, we call it an application letter also. अभिनव, सो कवर लेटर एक ऐसा लेटर है जिसको लिख के आप अपने एम्प्लॉयर को ये बता रहे हो कि जो मैंने रिज्यूमे में डिटेल्स लिखी हैं उनका इजी वर्जन आप 5-6 लाइनों में सबको बता रहे हो, सो दैट लेटर पढ़ के ही समझ आ जाए कि आप सुटेबल कैंडिडेट हो या नहीं. Faizan, mostly we are doing resume writing for job applications. So a cover letter is also required for the employer. Okay. For other resources and other various reasons, when you make a resume, we would not be discussing it. Okay. Is it okay? Arshti, both as in what both? Only the cover letter, no? What is the other thing you're talking about? So you're going to write a cover letter and you're going to put it in front of the resume, which is cover letter first, pehle, first page pe, uske piche resume ki sheet, and that's how you're going to submit it. And if you're writing an email, then it's anyways in the form of an attachment, but the way you name your attachment is going to be cover letter and it's going to be resume. Okay. Abhinav, yes, it means the summary of the resume. Very good, you got it now. Okay, Sonali, Faizan, clear hai? Arshdeep, is it clear now? Abhinav, Bhavna, Bhumika, Lakshita, Manvi, Rohini, Zeba, Jyoti, Diksha, is it okay now? Gurleen, clear hai? हाँ, कवर लेटर एंड रिज्यूमे. कवर लेटर आप किसी को एड्रेस करते हैं बिकॉज इट्स अ लेटर, so you need to write the name of the employer and the company's address. Resume is a single detached piece of paper, so you don't address it to somebody. आप जिसको सबमिट कर रहे हैं उनका नाम रिज्यूमे में कहीं नहीं आएगा. Okay? Yes, Arisha, when you apply for a job, you have to give a cover letter and a resume both. Okay, thank you so much. All the girls have written Bhavna, Bhumika, Rohini, Jyoti and Arshdeep, so it's clear now. Okay, let's move on then. Now I'm going to discuss the basic format of a cover letter. Now, mostly you've seen, when you're writing formal letters, informal letters, everything has a format. Remember from your school time how to write an informal letter, how to write a notice, how to write an invitation. So here also there is a format which we are going to follow. So just like any official letter, there is a simple standard format which the cover letter has. Same thing, Bhumika, same thing. So you start with the sender's address, which is you in this case. You put the date and the designation. Addressee is the person to whom you are writing. Okay. Then you put his or her designation, then the place and the date, the name of the organization. Salutation is like dear sir, respected ma'am. That's the salutation. And in the subject line, you're going to say cover letter for my candidature for the post of XYZ. Or you can simply say cover letter and then you can write your name. Then the letter is divided into three paragraphs: simple, introduction, body, and conclusion. In the body, you're going to tell about what all you have done. Introduction is basically about you as a person, where do you belong to, and one or two lines on your educational qualifications. Conclusion is hope that, I am given a chance to appear for the interview and I'm given a chance to present myself in front of the committee so that I can show I'm worthy enough to be selected. Okay, just a formal usage of English words. That's conclusion. And in the end, you can say complimentary closer. That's how you write your name, you put a sign and you put a date. And last of all, you say ENCL, which is the short form for enclosures. And then you can say enclose CV or resume, current CV or resume. Okay. Vibhu, I didn't understand your question. Can we write the paper starting with BCR? I mean, what do you mean by starting with BCR? Can you please tell me what does this mean? I did not understand your doubt. Okay. Anyway, so you tell me what you want to ask, and then in the meantime, I'll move ahead. Is the format clear? Now, what I would request all of you is, just give me a minute. Let me see if I have it. When I open the study material for chapter number 12, resume writing, there is a good enough information on how to make a cover letter. I have given that all in brief so that you don't spend much time. But yes, there is no harm in going through the cover letter, understanding what exactly goes into it. So if you come to, let's say, yes, can you see this? So this is the format of a cover letter, which is the same, which is what you have to adhere to. You don't have to make any changes. So it is the sender's address, the date, the designation, etc., like the way I have shared in my PPT. Then it starts with the introduction, the body. So if you please go through the study material, you will realize that a detailed understanding of this is given. Yes, Sagar, the paper is divided into the first is the law part, the second is the business correspondence and reporting part, which basically deals with the English part of it. So your paper is divided into two parts. Designation is what rank you hold, Zeba. Like, are you a manager, a senior manager, a director, a CEO, a CFO, a headmaster, a headmistress, a coordinator, a faculty? That is the designation. Yeah, Bibu, you can do it either ways because it's a complete set of business correspondence and reporting. So you can do it either ways. You can attempt whichever section you want to first. But just make sure you don't switch across sections, okay? It's not that 5 questions from one section, then you move to another section, do 5, and then come back to the first section. Don't do that. So if you're attempting the language part first, the reporting part first, then finish it, then move on to the law or vice versa. Okay? So what I want to say is I wanted to show this page. You can please read the study material, chapter 12, resume writing. They have given you a nice detailed format for a cover letter. I have also shared the format in my PPT, but there are some extra information. There is some extra information which has been put in the study material. So please go through it. If you follow this format, I know you're doing very good. Okay. Yes, Gurleen. Mostly questions will be very, very specific and clear. If they say write a cover letter, then you write it. Otherwise, you don't need to. Okay? Sagar, I did not understand if he can do BCR first. You can do it. You can do it. Yes, Bhumika, whatever is given in the question, that will be the designation for the person you are addressing the letter. It will be given. You have to write a cover letter, address it to Mr. XYZ, who is the senior manager or senior accountant or the HR head in so and so organization. So you will write the same designation as given in the question. Okay, you read it in the morning before. Fine, fine. That will be very good, Vibhu. That is wonderful. Testimonials are your vouchers. Like, if I ask you to write a testimonial for some website, you are basically saying that this website is very good and it has a lot of good information. It is a trustworthy website. That is a testimony. So you kind of stand for the authenticity and the goodness of it. It's a testimonial. Okay, some people ask you to give a testimonial for a person, for a website, for some kind of a service offered. That's when you talk about it in good words, it becomes a testimonial. Okay, clear everybody? Any doubts? So we've done cover letter, we've done resume, we're going to do more, of course. This is not just the end. We've done the basic format of a cover letter. After this, any doubt till here, or else I'll move on. I'll wait for a minute. I'll see if you guys have doubts. Otherwise, this is what I have to offer for the tips of writing. And then we'll do a small recap. And for whatever is left, I can take up your doubts. In the next session, what I have planned is I'm going to do the resume writing. So, wherein I will ask you to do the resume writing. And there are different styles of resumes. We'll discuss each of the style. We'll discuss certain differences between all three styles, and you may just try to attempt one or two. Okay. Now, before I move on to the basic formats of a cover letter, can I please ask you all to do a small short SWOT analysis? So you can just stick to strengths and weaknesses. Let's not go into opportunities and threats today. Please try and write something which you can share about yourself, some strengths and some weaknesses I really want to see. Okay, thanks, Asha and Sagar. Great, it's clear. Thank you, Swati. Saima, okay, I'll do that. Manvi, in that case of an email, you only have to write the email ID. So you will say to, you will say subject, and then you will write the email content exactly the way you write an email. Okay, you may just put a CC or a BCC, and then you write the subject, and then you can start your email. So you don't have to follow any other template, but yes, you can definitely put it in 3 paragraphs. Even the email letter can be put into 3 paragraphs. Okay, Manvi? Thank you, Asha. Thank you so much. Glad you're liking it. Bhumika, yes, in general, it is mandatory to write a cover letter with the resume. If in the question it does not ask you to do so, you may leave it. The question will be very, very specific that you have to write a resume. Then you write a resume. If it says resume plus a cover letter, then you write it both. Then you write both. But if in real life you are applying for a job, nobody is going to come and tell you. So cover letter plus resume, you have to write. Okay. Clear, everybody? Okay, now Lakshita is saying she does not understand chronological format. Chronology kya hoti hai? When you start from a date. Okay, chronology is time related. पीछे से आगे आना या आगे से पीछे जाना. So if I have to trace the history of India, I can start from the Indus Valley civilization, move on. Then I come to the dynasties. Then I come to the British rule, the imperialism, the colonialism. Then I come to free India, independence struggle, and till date. That is chronological order. time to time whatever happened. Reverse chronology is when I start from whatever happened recently and I trace it back to the past. So from yesterday to last week to last month to last year to last 2 years to last 10 years, that is reverse chronology. And chronology is starting from the origin to today. Okay? Most of your resumes should be written in reverse chronological order. Thanks, Shivangi. Thanks. Got it? Okay, now Diksha is talking about her strengths. She's an academic oriented person. She can communicate very well in 3 languages. That's awesome. Is that Hindi, English, and can I know the third one? I'm very punctual. I'm a well confident person and I'm very good at public speaking. Okay, weakness, you're not good at socializing. So you're kind of a reserved person. No worries. Okay, Rohini says she's generally very determined, but sometimes she gets demotivated. Okay, so that's a weakness you have to work upon, Rohini, because demotivation always leads to troubles. It might land up, you might land up in a situation where it's difficult to come back. So please don't get demotivated. You all are in that phase of your life where studies have the most important say. So please study with focus, study with determination, study with concentration. Once you become a CA, once you clear your exam, then you will realize how much of hard work has gone into that achievement. Okay? So no demotivations, no depressions. Okay, thanks, Gurleen. Okay, Marathi. Great, Diksha. Okay, so you are from the West, so Marathi. Okay. Peaceful. Bhumika, let's avoid writing peaceful because you're a peace lover, maybe. Huh? Yes, Bibhu, date wise. So you're talking about chronology, right? If in exam the question is about resume, you don't have to write a cover letter. It will be specifically mentioned that you have to write a cover letter, then you write it. Most welcome, Bibu. I also enjoy teaching a class like yours because I see a lot of proactive participation. You all come up with questions, you all come up with ideas, and I see that that element of initiative and that inertia in all of you. So you guys are one of my favorite batches. I really enjoy, and I hope I meet you all soon sometime when you all are there in GMCS, and I soon see you for some live physical classes. So it'll really be good to interact with all of you. And I'll definitely remember your names: Rohini, Vibhu, Diksha, Gurleen, Zeba, Arshdeep. I'll keep that in mind. Right, Arisha? Okay, Arisha says she's a good listener and she's hardworking. Okay, those are like wonderful strengths you have. What about your weaknesses, Arisha? Most welcome, Lakshita. It's always a two-way process. See, when you see the students, trying to gather most of the information, trying to learn more and more, when I see the receptiveness in students, your mood yourself gets pepped up. So you enjoy teaching in a class like that. And I think that's one of your strengths. All of you should mention that as your strength when you do a SWOT analysis. You are all very receptive to ideas and you're all very, very curious. And I really appreciate that because when I see you are asking questions, there is a knack for knowing more and more. That curiosity is what is going to lead you to success. And secondly, the receptiveness, because sometimes you tend to be very rigid that I know what I know and I'm not going to change. So all of you students in this class are not like that. You are very receptive to ideas, you are very receptive to changes, you are very receptive to my suggestions, and that makes it a strength for you. So see, right in class, within 1.5 hours, within with so many people around, I've been able to identify a strength of yours. Okay, Gurleen. So the kind of resume is, combination, functional, etc. we'll be doing in the next class, which is on Monday, 10th of October. So let's keep those doubts for that day. Okay, Arisha. Overconfidence. Why do you think you are overconfident? What makes you say so? Please tell me. Most welcome, Faizan. Great, Abhinav. I hope I am being able to explain things to you in English, because I remember you always mentioning that some things should be done in Hindi, but unfortunately, I'm not supposed to use a lot of Hindi language in the class. So thanks, Abhinav, for giving it a best try. Okay, Manvi says she does procrastinate and you're not a good listener. So you need to develop on your patience skills, You need to be a very calm and mellowed person. Listen to people, listen to their thoughts, and then. No, Hadia, I have a couple of more classes. Okay, Arshdeep says, introvert. Okay. Okay, Rekha also says weakness is introvert. So you all have to start working upon your weaknesses, because what happens typically is the moment in an interview, once you submit your resume and there's a nice discussion going on about your job and about your core areas and what do you think you can improve, etc. What typically happens is the next question is, why do you think this is your weakness and what are you doing to take care of it? So first of all, you all should say that, yes, I'm working upon it. I'm trying to overcome or, remove my weaknesses altogether. Uh, I cannot explain them. Okay. So then what happens is it shows that yes, you are a very active person. You know you have a weakness, so you are very open-minded, you are very receptive. You don't worry about criticism. Secondly, you're honest because you know there are things which are not good in you. And thirdly, you're trying your best, you're working hard to overcome the weaknesses. Okay, Zeba says punctual, hardworking, and you can do any work in a disciplined way. That's very good. Bhavna, it's not about stage fear. Is it okay now, Saima? Is the video fine? Even if I stop the PPT, I think it should be okay. Is the video visible? Okay. So, Sanjana, you say it's weakness to solve big problems. Now, that's a very general term, no? What would I understand by the word big problem, Sanjana? Can you explain? Okay, Vibhu, you say calm at mind. Wonderful. You are a hard worker. And you avoid socializing. I think somebody wrote the same thing a few minutes earlier. You avoid socializing. Okay, that's good, Vibhu. Okay. Thanks, Vibhu and Saima, for telling me. Thanks, Bhumika. Okay, Gunjan says vocabulary is not a very strong point. So, I mean English vocabulary, obviously. Uh, Internet is a threat. Time is a threat. Okay, you're hardworking, very good. And you have to work on your English. Okay. Stage fear, Bhavna, is not that really difficult. I think you can always overcome it by speaking regularly. Stand in front of a mirror and start speaking. I think that's the best way to remove stage fear. Okay, good listener, love peace. I'm very calm, wake up early, punctual. Weakness is very shy. Asha says this. Now, I've been seeing a pattern here. If you all would have noticed, most of you have written as your weakness that you are a shy person and you're very introvert and hence you don't want to socialize. So, what is being done to overcome it? Because once you are in office, you might be joining one of the big fours. You can't sit in your own seat and then spend the whole 8 hours just working. You need to get up and meet people. You need to know about their likes and dislikes. You need to connect the dots. You need to be aware about all the happenings in your official setup. For that, you need to socialize. So simply saying I am shy doesn't work. Being shy is not acceptable from a CA. There is nothing to be shy about. You are confident, you know your subject well, you know you can handle the clients well, you know you can do your work well, your mentor, your principal will be happy in office. So no room for shyness, no room for introvert. Okay? Okay, Lakshita says she's a hard worker. Wonderful, Lakshita. Okay, so thank you so much, all of you. You all have shared quite a nice information about yourself from the strengths and weaknesses point of view. I appreciate that. Now, we move on to the cover letter. We've done the basic discussion. That's okay, Swati. You don't have to mention that as your weakness for the resume. Okay, that is just very casual that you don't understand mathematics. That's okay, but that doesn't need to be put in the resume. Okay. Okay, so you are a people person and you like to talk and make friends. Okay, suddenly we have a new person like Bhumika rising out of all the shy guys and saying, okay, I like to talk and I like to make friends. Very good, Bhumika. So please make friends as many as possible. Okay, so the last bit for today is the tips for writing a cover letter. Now, next time, what I expect is all of you should have written a cover letter. Fine. Following these tips which I'm writing, which I've shared on screen, all of you should have written a cover letter and you can share it with me in this discussion chat platform, or you can tell it to me next class, whatever is suitable for you. Yeah, please work on your shyness, Asha. Okay, Saima knows 6 languages. That's a big number, Saima. Congratulations. Okay, so let's finish this now. Now, the last is the tips for writing a cover letter. So let's go step by step. First of all, we discuss it's an official document. Anything which is official will always use a formal language. Okay, that's very important. Second, you should avoid ambiguity. Ambiguity is double answers, lack of clarity. The moment there is lack of clarity, people don't want to read it. It's just like, a formula or a logical statement being clear. If I'm doing Pythagoras theorem and I do not understand what is a hypotenuse and what is a base, there is lack of clarity and I might repeat or I might say something which doesn't make sense. That makes it more ambiguous. So please don't do that. Okay. Ambiguity is where I don't get a clear cut, sure, short answer from you. That's ambiguous. Okay, Rakshita. Third is you have to focus on the main points. This is something which I have been repeating. Sorry. I have been repeating because I know I said avoid repetition, but I'm repeating this point again and again. Please focus on the important points. A resume speaks for itself. You don't have to sit and explain somebody. You don't have to ask somebody to come and sit with you that I'm going to explain each point. No, that's not going to happen. A resume is submitted for the very fact that that person is not available. So the employer can look at the resume and take a decision. Okay. Next is you have to state only the relevant experiences and accomplishments. So, for example, you are applying for an NGO job. Okay, this is just an example. And if you have done some other, some social service, the NGO people will take you. If you are applying for a teacher's job and you have done some social service, it does not matter to the school or college where you're applying, because that field which you're going to enter, the field of being a teacher, is not related to social service. But if you are working as a philanthropist, if you're working with an NGO and you say, I have done something with the Red Cross Society, I have done something with the Robin Hood Army, then it shows that you are a passionate human being, you have a love for mankind, and you are ready to go out and help people. Then in that case, the NGO job is a fitment for you. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is you always have to state only relevant experience. If you have been a football player and you're applying for a course in Tally, it will not help me. If you're applying as an intern or an article, knowing your sports skills does not help me. You might be a trained Kathak dancer, but that's not going to help me in the office. Okay, so only relevant experience and accomplishments should be stated. Now, fifth is keep the language simple. which means if I'm like Bibu was recently asking, can I use jargons? Jargons are, subject specific and field specific words. So a physiotherapist will be using some words which only he understands. A scientist will be using something. A CA will be using something. A lawyer will be using something. So those words are very specific. Those are called jargons. We try to avoid using jargons to a certain extent because sometimes it looks so wordy that you have simply copied it from the dictionary and you've put it on the resume. That should not happen, or you put it on the letter for that matter. Okay, very good, Bibu. So NSS, you get any certificate of participation or anything, please attach that. Okay. Fine. Sixth is the letter can be divided into 2 to 3 paragraphs. So basically, it's again the same thing. A letter is meant to be divided. So it's nothing new. The way you have been doing your formal letters, that's the way you have to do this also. Customize the letter with respect to different jobs. This is what I told you for resume also. If you are applying for the job of a gatekeeper, your resume and your letter should look different. It should have qualities which they think they need in a gatekeeper. And if you have studied about it on the net or on other sources, okay, what do you think is a good gatekeeper? You will be able to get the job. Next is you should be very, very clear about what exactly is the job being offered. So job description, please, please, please study. Without job description, there is no use of applying. If you don't even know what exactly you are going to do in the office, which you will get to know by the JD. Job description is also known as JD. Okay, so you can change your letter, modify the words in such a way that people start thinking that yes, this is the right candidate because everything I want is highlighted, is written in such style that it matches to what I want as a resource, and I'm going to take this resource. Okay. Last is supplement your resume, don't repeat, which means a cover letter is adding on to information, not just repeating. If I have to repeat, then I can go for an interview, explain everything, and I'm done. But the reason that I want you to write a cover letter is it is giving you an extra opportunity of telling something more about yourself in a more English-sized way, more writing sentences, words way, unlike a resume, which is more tabular and bulleted. Okay? Clear, everybody? Are you confident enough to do a SWOT analysis at home? So once you finish the class, point 7, WRT is with respect to jobs की क्या requirement है, उसको देखते हुए आप अपने लेटर को चेंज कीजिए और हर लेटर को डिफरेंट बनाइए डिफरेंट कंपनीज में देने के लिए एंड WRT मींस विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ओके I just now told Abhinav. Now the world is entirely competitive. So the more courses you do, the more workshops and seminars you attend, the more practice sessions you do, the more lectures you attend, all this is piling up and adding on to your information. And the more information you have, the better you can implement it, the better you can use it in your job, and you can come in focus. You can be one of the brightest employee of your organization. Right? Got it? Saima, I have shown you the format. When I dikhaya tha, I showed you the study material. In the study material, and this is the format otherwise. So this is a basic format. For the detailed format, you can refer to the study material. We are doing chapter number 12, resume writing. Just on the 3rd or the 4th page, if I'm not wrong, they have given you a cover letter, a proper cover letter. Even the question and answers given in towards the end, which are like practice questions, they also have a cover letter. Okay. And if you really want more practice, then you can refer to the MTPs, the mock test papers. Okay, Bibu has generally pasted the whole thing in the chat. Okay, so any doubts now anything which you want me to move on to, right from cover letter to your SWOT, to the analysis, to drafting your resume, the basics about drafting your resume, anything which you want to ask me, please go ahead. In the second half of the class, which is going to be 10th of October, Monday, we'll be discussing types of resumes. There are 3 styles of resumes. Depending on where you are applying, we're going to do this. Also, I will try my best that we find out time so that you can attempt writing a resume in basic, just you don't have to make like lines and boxes. It's okay, just like basic structure of a resume, where to put the name, where to put the phone number, where to put the email ID, and then leave a gap, and then start with designations, and then leave a gap, so that then the gaps and the format, all that will become clear when we discuss the different styles of resume. Okay. Okay, so Bhumika and Rohini and Manvi and Sagar, they have like given a testimonial that they have understood and they really liked the class also. Everything was easy to understand. Now, all the others can also tell me. Any doubts with the resume writing, with the basics, the SWOT, the detailed study of SWOT, and finally the cover letter. This is the format for a cover letter. Okay, it's quite clear to many of you. Saima, you every time you go for a job or anything, yes, 10th and 12th is required. That's why we say whenever you're doing your board exams, you should have studied hard, because 10th and 12th marks are definitely considered at many places for a job. Okay, thank you so much. So, Jyoti, thanks, Jyoti, that you enjoyed. I also enjoyed having you all in class. Okay, Saima, I just now told you. So, Bhavna, thanks. Arisha, thanks. Abhinav, Ankit, Zeba, Jia, Gunjan, Swati, and Vibhu. So, many of you have given a testimonial that you've enjoyed the class and everything is crystal clear now. Now, please remember, be ready for the next class, and we're going to continue with whatever is left for resume writing. Meanwhile, please remember, as part of your homework, do make a SWOT analysis table, and please let's discuss threats and weaknesses in the next class for the first 15 minutes. Then after 15 minutes, we're going to start with the presentation. Okay? Any doubts, anything you want to ask? Most welcome, Vibhu. I appreciate all of your gestures, that everybody is giving me a separate feedback. Thank you so much, everybody. It was very lovely to be in a class like this. All the best. Have a nice weekend, and I'll see you on Monday, 2 o'clock, with the remaining part of resume writing. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.